An ex-cop was a sexy stripper, an outcast on the verge to revenge the woman that he loves. And one man helps a bunch of women defend their territory for what is theirs in Frank Miller's Sin City. Hello everyone, I'm Lazy Universe and welcome back to a new episode of Lazy Cinema, where today I'm talking about Sin City, a movie that I picked up and haven't watched until recently. And this movie I know gets a bunch of praise, being considered next to Frank Miller's other film that gets somewhat praise and hate, which is also The Spirit, and this film is considered to be darker than The Crow and The Dark Knight. Do I think that? Hell no. This is by far one of the worst Frank Miller movies I've ever seen, but it had to be dissected by each different portion. But let's start with the second portion that stars Mickey Rourke. Now, Mickey Rourke's character is a guy who's going after a man that killed the love of his wife, played by Jaime King in both roles, and he really wants revenge for whoever killed her because he claimed that she was the love of his life, even though that she was basically just a prostitute, slut, whatever, that he had slept with. So he decided to fuck up a bunch of people's lives just to get into that. Now here's the thing. Each different story had to be rated as such, and it feels very disconnected for me to actually go into it like that and just try to do the best I can with it. Now, yes, this movie does have 4 different stories, but only 2 tie into each other, not the whole 3 of the bargain. So you have Bruce Willis, Jessica Alba, Mickey Rourke, Elijah Wood, Jaime King, Rosario Dawson, Clive Owen, and a bunch of different other gifted actors and actresses in this. And does it really feel like a really good film? No, not even as a total. The only thing that really sticks out to me, maybe because he's such a good actor, is Bruce Willis's parts uh, as the police officer Hardigan. And you know, I really do like when he and Alba are on screen because there is such a romance to them that you can feel on the screen that they shouldn't have, but it's something that feels even more so, especially since Willis protected her at a young age before she ended up being raped as such. So this film does deal with a lot of like those bigger qualities into it, and then later on in the film, where 8 years has passed, he ends up finding her only to protect her once again from being raped again, which is a nice sort of turn of phrase for a film, and it really would be a great film to watch, especially with Bruce Willis in it, especially at the age that he was during this film production. But the other 2 films with Mickey Rourke and Jaime King doesn't feel like that because Mickey Rourke is just one of a vengeance quest rather than it's supposed to be about a man who ends up finding the love of his wife, she ends up getting killed, and he ends up having to save her. But it feels lesser than that, and maybe that's because of the writing and the way that this one was brought into life. And the final one on here with Clive Owen and Rosario Dawson feels lesser so than that. I would be especially having Brittany Murphy being a love interest for Clive Owen before he ends up getting himself into deeper trouble where he had to be saved by warrior hookers. You heard me right, warrior hookers. This film was directed by 3 different people. 2 talented people. One is just a horny teenager. This was directed by Frank Miller, the horny teenager. Freaking Robert Rodriguez of El Mariachi, Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and fucking Alita Battle Angel fame, which Alita Battle Angel was one of the most highest viewed review that I've done on this channel. Go and see it if you haven't already. And yet, he did this. And the last acclaimed director is Quentin Tarantino, who you might remember from Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, and also Reservoir Dogs and The Django. How do you go from such high quality to shit? Well, fuck if I know. Maybe Frankie Boy got to them in a different way, and if you know what I mean, if your mind is in the gutter, good for you. I'm not saying that this shouldn't be judged from comic to movie, especially since, well, I am a big comic reader, but I never once wanted to ever to check out Frank Miller's Sin City. And it's not because of doubt, because Frank Miller can write some very damn good stuff, especially with his run on Daredevil, but there are some more questionable things that Frank Miller has written, and this one definitely comes to life. From the pages I've seen of Sin City that some people have shown me and some I've seen online, is that it is very similar from comic to movie paneled, and that's kind of a good thing because it what gives it more of a stylized touch. But the problem is that this uses Frank Miller's directing style, where it's just nothing but actors and actresses in front of a green screen, which kind of throws off the whole thing. Yeah, in a movie like The Spirit, it is kind of like significant looking at it through that way, and that's how I see it whenever I watch The Spirit. But through this film, it feels more lesser so than that, especially with just having the green screen do everything for you instead of having sets and locations. I can understand that the sets and locations are expensive to use, but you gotta also understand that sometimes even just doing green screen and CGIing everything is even lesser so expensive and even more so proven to be lazy. Now, consider what Frank Miller had done in movie studios, especially for one of the RoboCop films. I think it was RoboCop 2, if I'm not mistaken. He did a great job on it, but in all sincerity, going from that to this, it really goes to show you. And plus, this movie makes me feel kind of awkward while watching it. And maybe that's because a lot of the actors and actresses in it feel like they shouldn't be in this film. There is a lot of inner monologue, and especially that this is even more so than all four Batman Arkham games combined. Yeah, it is that annoying. I'm not even joking. It is so irritating listening to them talk and then have the inner monologue go at the same time. It really feels very contriving. Like this film is trying to be something unique and it failed at doing so. Again, the only thing that's worthwhile watching in this is just the Bruce Willis stuff, and maybe that's because he's such a grand performer, and along with Jessica Alba, who's just in there for sex appeal, especially since this is also quoting that she was in Fantastic Four, and if you know about Fantastic Four, you know about the infamous scene with her on the bridge. The director is behind that. If you don't believe me, go and look it up or see a review of it. It is quite the story of what happened, that the director wanted to use her for a sexy shot. I feel kind of bad for her. Just like I do for Cara Guarino, who is in this film only to be naked and in a thong. Why bother having anything, Frankie? Why bother? But you know what the only good redeeming factor of this movie is also? Elijah Wood as Kevin, the serial killer. Kevin never says a word, but Elijah Wood is that damn gifted of an actor that when he's on screen, he doesn't need to talk. His expressions say it all for him, and he acts just like a serial killer would. Like, God's sake, man! People, look at this film and put Elijah Wood in a fucking horror film as the killer! You did it with... I can't remember his name right now. But Professor Xavier, I'm going to hurt myself later for not remembering, but Professor Xavier from X-Men First Class. Do it like you did with him with Split. God! I mean, my God, I was blown away just by his performance as the Kevin or the Wolf Kid or whatever. He is such a grand performance of an actor. And that's what really makes it work. But I'm sorry to say this, is that this film is just, for me, it's not good. Yes, there are some styles of the directing that really do work. Yes, some of the characters do feel very, appealing and you want to learn more about them. But sadly, the story is so off-putting that you don't know if you want to support the character or if you want to be against them. And that's what's really sad about this, especially having a lot of good actors in this. Especially Michael Clark Duncan, before he passed away, was in this film. And considering that he was also in Daredevil of all things, where he had one of the most excellent fight scenes I ever saw put to camera, he is so left out of this film, and that's sad to say, especially as a Michael Clark Duncan fan. Rosario Dawson felt very uneasy for me to watch, especially since she was mostly in lingerie for the most of the film, and I get it because of warrior hookers, but it is what it is. And you know something, Sin City is one of the worst films I've seen this year. Even if I just had to quote it by just the Bruce Willis and Jessica Alba stuff being quite decent and could have been a movie all their own, still for being in this, they are kind of lackluster. Every story just feels like they're trying to make something good, but it's just poor in execution. The directing is good but bad. The writing is just plain bad. And some of the actors' performances go from mixed to pretty good and to pretty awful all at the same time. So if you're a fan of Sin City and you like the movie, good for you and more power to you. I just cannot stand it for the life of me. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Lazy Cinema. If you guys could please yourself have a little shot at the like button, have a shot at the subscribe button, and have a shot by following me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And also, as I said, check out my Battle Angel Alita review where I credited Robert Rodriguez for doing a great job with that film as well. And there are some more movies out there that I've not seen that I want to see from both future, present, and also past. So they're probably lined up upon the Lazy Cinema screen. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. And also remember, if you want to see better graphic novelized films, here are two recommendations right here: The Crow and The Dark Knight. And go and watch them if you haven't already. Cause goddamn Sin City is not the city you're looking for, and I'll see you next time.